Hello and welcome back to E30 M3 Recreation. In the last episode, Spencer was mounting the body panels on the car and lining them up perfectly, making notes of where they sat, ready for final welding. The E30 was truly starting to look magnificent. Well, in this episode, the car's missing its body panels again. In this episode, the body panels have been removed from the chassis as it's now time to unpick hundreds upon hundreds of spot welds and remove the final traces of all the poor workmanship carried out by the previous body shop. If this is the first video in the series you've watched and you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, here is the playlist for you to go back and see for yourself. Also, please take the time to subscribe and browse the Car Lube channel. Now, over to Spencer.
So a quick little video update of the progress done today. You can see the actual original battery tray is now unpicked. So you can see the inside of the chassis rail there. The actual battery tray sits against the inside of the chassis rail. It comes along the side of the chassis, which is all the way down there, then turns 90 degrees and runs down the wheel well, and then the rear quarter comes around and meets it. So that's fully unpicked, ready for the new item to be able to unpicked off the chassis rail of the new chassis rail and welded in. Now there is a small problem with the new item which they gave me. As you can see in this video, the black item is an original item from BMW, and that item is a facelift item. So they've actually supplied me with a facelift item, and I'm not sure whether the original pre-facelift is still available. So the problem being is, if they can't supply me this in steel for a pre-facelift car, you will have to buy this off me, which is a pre-facelift item, and that is obviously in carbon fibre. And previously I was buying the pre-facelift items on the chassis rail, so it comes with the frame attached. That was still available, but I think that the actual stock levels of those have gone down now, and they may have gone discontinued. So you can see the depth difference in the actual back of the car. So this is pre-facelift M3, and that is a facelift panel. So you can see how much deeper the actual battery tray is from factory. All right, so about 2.5 inches, I believe. So this item actually sits back in there, and that holds the battery. Alright, so it isn't the end of the world, but it would be nice to put a steel item back. So that is all unpicked, ready. You can see that the actual spot weld surfaces for the wheel arch, the inner wheel arch, have all been cleaned back. The underseal has been cleaned back, ready for a little bit of welding. There's a little bit of a rust hole just up inside there, which has got to be repaired before I can put the wheel arches on and the rear quarters on. So that again, that's a common place. It's not very big. If I put my thumb against it, you can see what needs repairing. And then again, all the surfaces for the window frame to spot weld to have been cleaned and prepped. This side now is fully stripped off, so you can see that the actual side of the car, the bare frame is fully exposed, and the outer sill has now been removed. So all the way along from front to back, the outer sill has been removed. Again to the same area where the braze joint was in the front. So those spot welds, as well as brazen along that joint. You can see there's another hole which is going to have to be repaired before I actually put the new sill in there, and a bit of rust, rust killer, rust treatment inside there. So not the end of the world. I can fully cut that rust out and weld a new plate in there, brand new metal, so you won't ever know it was there. Grind it down, grind it flush. So the driver's side and the passenger side now are fully prepped for nearly all the new panels to go on. The first thing we have to do is repair this rust hole in the sill, repair the rust hole in the wheel arch, and then acid rust killer, then etch prime inside internal structures. I've purchased weld through primer as well, so the weld through primer is here. So then I would basically use this is the stuff I'll be using, Pro Weld, Pro XL. That will be on all these areas, all the way around, down these areas, down around the window frame. It will be all around them areas that are going to be spot welded with the actual original spot welder tool. And then anywhere where the two metals join, it will be in between the two areas as well, so it isn't bare metal inside there. And then it will allow us to weld through it as well at the same time. So not much work left to do before we can actually start hanging all the panels for the very last time and start welding everything up. Getting very, very close, very exciting, and all the prep work is done now virtually. Just a little bit of repair work and in respects to rust. It would be nice to put a metal panel in this battery tray area, but again, BMW sold me this item and they sold me this by mistake. This is a facelift part and I want a pre-facelift part. If they can't supply me with a pre-facelift part, we will end up going with a battery tray, carbon battery tray in there, fully bonded all the way around, as well as the inner arches. It's going to be more than strong enough. All the spot weld surfaces now are fully clean, fully wire wheeled back to bare metal all the way around, and then weld through primer has been applied on every single surface which we're going to be welding, all the way around the rear end of the car as well. I don't know whether you've noticed that, but just down here you can see that I've had to remove this pocket along the side here as well. That was a facelift pocket which was along the side here, this side panel. They'd basically made a real mess of that pocket, and it basically had to come out. You know, the scenario is we're going to have to buy another one, and I think they're only about 20 quid, not very much, but I will then manufacture. You can't buy the pre-facelift one. This is obviously needs to be pre-facelift as well as the other side battery tray. So we're going to buy a facelift one, and we're going to shrink the facelift one down, shorten it, because they'd already cut it too short, this one on here. So there's no way of repairing it easily. So we'll basically get another one, shrink it down, and panel beat it so it fits perfectly. All right. All the spot weld surfaces, I don't know if you can see this, but all the spot weld surfaces are all been panel beated back into shape, nice and flat, ready to accept the new panels. All these surfaces all been cleaned, fully primed, 3 layers of primer, so everything's nice now. Nothing should rust at all. You can see this side has all been fully prepped. Again, along the sill has all been fully prepped. So all the prep work is done now. In regards to the hole down there and the hole up in this arch, still needs to be done, but it's literally half a day's work doing those two jobs before I can start hanging the panels. And there is just obviously all the original metal work has been unpicked there. All the brazing has been unpicked, and also the brazing has been unpicked off the top of this rear quarter here as well. So it's been unpicked there. There is still 2 areas of brazing either side. There's the top of the B pillar and the very top of the C pillar to do.
So that's the progress for today. I think you'll agree some real inroads have been made. See you all in 2018.
Wow. I mean, seeing it in the flesh, it looks pretty decent, doesn't it? Look at the carbon fibre boot lid.
It is a race car.